At the very end of the day on Friday, even as most of us, even those of us who work in the media, were getting ready to turn off the computers and head home, the State Department issued their long-awaited draft of the environmental impact report of the XL Keystone Pipeline. After years of environmental activists and farmers and Native Americans pleading with the State Department to consider the tremendous environmental impacts involved in this nearly 2,000-mile-long oil pipeline that would carry crude oil from Canada to the Gulf Coast, a project that a leading American climate scientist has said would be game over for the climate. And the State Department said, meh, project doesn't seem to pose much of an impact on climate change. Makes you wonder if we have learned anything at all. Sarah, have we learned anything at all here?
I hope so. I hope so. Have we seen strong reforms, or are we having amnesia? Yeah, I think we're having amnesia. It's not even 3 years after the spill, and the media reports that there's been a recent study that suggests that support for offshore drilling is about equivalent to what it was before the oil spill. And if you'll remember, right before the Deepwater Horizon oil spill, we were hearing this mantra, drill, baby, drill. And we were told by the oil companies, it's safe. Don't worry, it's safe. Well, guess what? In August of 2009, there was a blowout, an explosion in the East Timor Sea that spilled for 74 days. So, you know, I hope our memories are a little longer this time. I hope that people learn to value our natural resources and recognize that we can't live without clean water.
I mean, the memory piece is not small. 311 Olympic-sized swimming pools worth of oil dumped into the Gulf during the BP spill. And here we are saying, oh, we need this XL for jobs.
I think what I think also what the American people don't understand in this debate also is what is the right balance between maintaining a clean environment and also the need for our energy, need for oil, need for jobs. I don't think the American people understand what the balance is. It's either you're on either side. Right. Either you're, you know, drill baby drill, or you're against it all. And I don't think there's been a great argument about what is the middle ground.
See, I'm going to push because I think we do understand, and I think we understand that the thing we'd have to do is consume less. The one thing is,
but we haven't been asked to.
Granted, we have not been asked to, but part of the reason we haven't been asked to is because any politician from dog catcher to president who says, you know what, the real solution here is you're going to have less. You're going to have a smaller house. You're going to need to drive a smaller car. You're going to have to make different kinds of consumption choices, and we're going to have to do it collectively. And we're like, whoa, no, that is not the American way. We are bigger, badder, bolder, and go draw whatever natural resource there is. It all belongs to us, and we're all allowed to use it as much as we want.
Right, and to your point, we haven't been asked to. There hasn't been a president or anyone to say we need to collectively as a society consume less in order to protect our environment, and we can do this.
We have to consume more.
Right. You know,
right. To fight terrorism.
Exactly.
And we could do this together and make it a we're America. We could do this together. We can protect our, you know, protect our land and create jobs and still have the energy we need. Right. We haven't, that large question and that punt to the American people has not been asked.
Because this is only going to become more of an issue, right? I mean, the ultimate, you know, we talk about regulations and fines and punitive charges, but ultimately, if we want to prevent these kind of things, we can't have oil companies going to increasingly desperate, increasingly risky and dangerous types of drilling. You know, we want to prevent those catastrophes when they do happen, but ultimately, we need to transition to safer forms of energy, and you know, that's going to have to be part of a large, as you said, collective strategy.
And yeah, go ahead. The question about, you know, what is the American way? Certainly, there is a notion that these resources belong to us, but guess what? They belong to all of the American people, and the Gulf of Mexico is our backyard. So you're allowing BP and other oil companies to drill in our backyard, and when they do it, they better be as responsible as possible. I don't buy the argument that, well, we followed the baseline regulations. Regulations are a requirement. You have to follow all the rules all the time, and if you can't follow the rules, you shouldn't play the game. But in addition, since you're drilling in our backyard and the consequences can be so severe, you have to use the utmost care.
There should be pre-clearance. You know, I just got back from, you know, covering the Shelby versus Holder case with the Voting Rights Act. And, you know, right now, states that have a history of racial discrimination, they have to pre-clear any election law changes with the federal government. The same thing should happen with these companies that have a history of violence and a history of destruction. BP should have to pre-clear every single decision. I don't care if it's moving a porta potty from one side of the rig to the other. Like they need to go to BOMER and they need to say, hey, is this going to be okay? Will it cause harm? And if they can prove up front that it will not cause harm, then maybe we'll consider it. But You know, it can't just be this thing where they have like a blank slate to just do whatever they want, and then after the fact, they go and try to pay for it.
Yeah, and I think we also are going to have to become collectively more risk averse on this. I mean, I do think there's ways in which, you know, so our focus on recycling makes us think we don't have to change our consumption. Our focus on, well, now there's tar sand oil means we don't have to make the cars smaller. I feel like there are some, if we don't want to, that's fine. We should just know we're running smack into a wall for future generations, right? We talk about this around the debt all the time, but we're creating an environmental debt here. Thanks to everyone for coming and helping me just be irritated with BP and hoping
well, there is
to
a silver
find
lining.
Right. I mean, we're starting to move towards something else. So thank you to Sarah and Brenton and Mike, and LJ is back a little later. But up next, Love American Style when it comes to the push for marriage equality, the surprising way that the momentum continues.